this is Joe again with to continue my series with how the Mets with the franchise is being screwed. The first part was with how Major League Baseball has treated the Mets organization since their founding, and since their founding in 1962. Now I'm going to do the other spectrum and how the management has screwed, ignoring the Mets for the Met fans. Of course, mostly during the 60s, and we don't know, I wasn't born yet. So during the 60s, literally the Mets were, starting out then. So it was kind of hard for them to not screw on the main players. Of course, the most famous one at that time was the Mets made a trade for catcher named Henry Chidi, I think from Cleveland, and he was so bad. Well, they traded him for a player to be named later, but he was proven to be so bad, and the Mets traded him back to Cleveland. The only player in Major League history to be traded for himself. Excuse me. Other than that, there wasn't really all that much in the 60s that I could relate. But the number one, of course, screw job the management has done in terms of the players was the most famous or infamous one, which has been titled the Midnight Massacre, which happened on June, what was then the trade deadline of June 15th, 1977, when Tom Seaver got traded from the Mets to Cincinnati for 4 players. And the story behind that was that Tom Seaver was having a contract dispute with the management at that time. It wasn't the Wilpon management then. It was like the second management team. Because the original owner, Joan Payson, died after 1975. And so her daughter, Melinda DeVillay, took over the team, or inherited the team. And she made M. Donald Grant pretty much run the team, who was the chairman of the board. And so Seaver was having all this problems with Grant, trying to get a new contract. And Jack Lang, who was a sports writer for I'm not sure what people was working at the time. I think the Daily News. And he was like the middle guy and said, "Look, why don't you have have the money you want by an extension of your current contract? Then I have to give to you this year, but towards the end of this regular contract, you can have it then." And Seaver thought that was a good idea, so he went for it. And the management agreed and said, "Okay, we do it this way." And meanwhile, Dick Young, who was also running for the Daily News at that time, Dick Young's son, was working for the Mets. So he had a little thing going on there. Wrote a column saying that Tom Seaver's wife, Nancy Seaver, was jealous of Ruth Ryan, Nolan Ryan's wife, and Nolan Ryan himself, because they were making all that money with the California Angels then. And that Seaver was not making this same type of money that Nolan Ryan was. And Seaver saw that article, and he says, bolts out of his chair. They were sitting at the hotel in Atlanta. He says, "That's it. Close up the Mets. Says to the owners, that's it. This deal is off. Close the whole deal off." And that night he was traded. And of course it was called the Midnight Massacre. So it was like the #1 screw job in Met history. And of course the other screw job, a lot of the screw jobs happened in the 80s. After when the Mets won the World Series in '86, they almost immediately broke the team up, because within 3 years after the '89 season, all the major pieces that helped win the World Series for the Mets in '86 were all gone. And which is a shame, because as quickly as Frank Cashen and the Mets management built up the team when they first won in 1980, talking about Nelson Doubleday and Phil Wilpon, with Frank Cashen as the general manager, as quickly as they built up the team to be a contender in '84 and '85 seasons, and of course winning everything in '86, almost immediately they broke it up. And the reason why they pretty much broke it up is because at least Wilpon anyway, was more worried and more concerned of his reputation, and the reputation of that franchise, than winning. And of course, it starts off with Ray Knight ended up being the comeback player of the year in '86. So, for the National League comeback player of the year, the only other than Keith Hernandez winning the Gold Glove, the only Met that actually won a postseason award for the regular season. And also won the MVP of the World Series as well. So it's like a double award winner. He was his contract, his current contract was up at the end of the '86 season. So it goes to Frank Casher and says, "Look, I don't care how much money you give me. I don't care how much money you give me. You give me the league minimum for all I care. Just as long as you give me a 2-year contract, that's all I want. It's a 2-year contract. That's it." Well, at that point, eventually all 26 owners were agreed not to sign any free agents. And at that point, at the end of the '86 season, Ray Knight was a free agent. And Frank Casher was honest enough. I mean, as far as I don't think Frank Casher was breaking up the '86 team, he was honest enough to tell Ray Knight, "Look, I can't. I would like to give you the contract. I'll give it to you in 2 seconds. But unfortunately, all the owners agreed not to sign any free agents." So Ray Knight was out of luck, and he ended up signing with the Orioles and being taken with the Tigers for 1 year. And that was it. But he didn't have a good year again, like he did in '86. He played like another 3, maybe 4 years after the '86 season. But also the same off season, the Mets traded Kevin Mitchell to San Diego for Kevin McReynolds. I know that there was a sports talk host here in New York named Joe Bedingo who claims that was the worst trade, one of the worst trades in history behind the Seaver deal, which I just mentioned, because Kevin Mitchell in 1989 ended up making an MVP. And after '87 or '88 season, he was traded to the Giants. He won an MVP in '89. The '89 Giants team that went to the World Series. But I didn't think it was all that bad of a trade because Kevin McReynolds did play well when he was here. As a matter of fact, I saw him a few times, and he won a couple of games that I went to in person for the Mets. So he wasn't. I don't think Kevin McReynolds was the greatest left fielder of all time, but I'm saying he was a good player, a very, very good player. He should be remembered more by Met fans because he was a damn good player. He won a bunch of games. For the Mets, one game in particular, he won with the grand slam home run in Wrigley Field during the '88 season. So I don't know why Met fans have a bug up the butts about McReynolds. But the reason why the Mets got rid of Kevin Mitchell was because they thought that he was a bad influence on Dwight Glenn and Dallas Corbett. Excuse me. Because Kevin Mitchell was, or at least Kevin Mitchell's brother anyway, was involved with the gangs in San Diego because they grew up in San Diego, California, and he was involved with the gangs in San Diego. So they thought that because of his gang background, they thought it would be a bad influence on Glenn and Strawberry. And the funny thing is, during the '86 season, Glenn was using cocaine throughout the '86 season. I know in '85, but definitely in '86. And on April 1st, 1987, just before the season started, Glenn was suspended for 2 months. And he got caught. He flunked a drug test. Kevin Mitchell says the Mets management complained all that with being a bad influence, but at least it wasn't doing cocaine, lying to cocaine in the clubhouse that Glenn was, and Glenn and Strawberry were. So there's how Kevin Mitchell got screwed, and then of course the next year in '88, Greg Jeffries got screwed. There's the next player that got screwed because he was brought up in August. He was minor league player of the year 2 years in a row for 86 and 87. 88, I don't think he won the award in 1988. But he came up in the end of August. And he missed his major league debut by 1 day, as a matter of fact, because he went the night before. Went to a game the night before. But he was a house on fire. He hustled. He was hitting home runs. He wasn't really known as a home run hitter, but was hitting home runs like crazy. He was hitting doubles like crazy, like you wouldn't know it. And he was making the rest of the Mets look bad because the Mets were known, particularly the '88 team, were not known as being as hustling as they did in the '86 season. Usually Backman wasn't hustling. I mean, he was a damn good player, but wasn't playing as well as he did in '86, or Lenny Dykstra was, or Mookie Wilson was. And here's this young 21-year-old kid from minor leagues who was making them look bad. So the old didn't really want all that crazy about him. Of course, after '88, they got rid of Wally Backman to open up the second base slot for Jeffries. Because he also played third base, he played shortstop, he played all over the infield, especially in '88 and in '89. He got like a settled into a second baseman in '89. And even when the Mets touched the division, Jeffries played the whole game at third base. Nobody hugged him. None of the players hugged him. The only one that really hugged him with the on-field celebration was Buddy Helson, the coach for the Mets and the shortstop for the '69 and '73 Mets. He was the only one who hugged him on the field, and you can see that footage on YouTube. Let's look up for 1988 Met highlights, and you can see that. So he ran to the clubhouse fast because he played as a good team player. So, oh, it's that time out there. He said in a clubhouse interview after the game. Well, it's that time out there. That's why he ran in the clubhouse fast. And of course, the Mets PR guys put so much pressure on Jeffries. And in 1989, he didn't have such a great year in '89, and everybody assumed, because you know what happens when you assume, that he was going to win the Rookie of the Year in 1989, and he didn't do it. Jerome Walton of the Cubs did. And then a couple of years there, I think that's before the '92 season, Jeffries got traded to, I think, Kansas City, then he played for the Phillies for a while. And he managed to play 10 years in the Major Leagues and getting a decent pitching out of it. So that's what, and most of the players treated him lousy because the Mets felt, or at least the veterans felt, who liked Ray Knight, felt they didn't re-sign Ray Knight because they knew they had this kid in the minor leagues. So a good chunk of the players didn't like Jeffries. I think the only one that really kind of liked him was Hernandez. When Jeffries first came up in '88, Hernandez took him out of his ring a little bit, and encouraged, kind of like Jeffries, encouraged him a little bit. But he didn't overdo it, but just enough to say, hey, Hernandez was the captain of the team, and so co-captain, and took him over for that. Of course, one of the other big screw jobs was when the Mets did not bring up Scott Kazmir. That's when, I think it was at the time when Phil Wilpon took full control of the team from Nelson Doubleday, brought out Nelson Doubleday, and traded him to Tampa Bay, which had been a good career, and now he's pitching for Oakland. And of course, the other big almost potential screw job was the Mets almost did not get Mike Piazza because of Wilpon. That's when Doubleday was still co-owner with Wilpon, and he wanted to get Piazza over Wilpon to get Piazza. And also he was there when the Mets re-signed him. If he Doubleday still on the team when the Mets re-signed him. So he was the one who wanted Piazza here and not Wilpon. So Mike Piazza almost did not become a Met because of Wilpon. And no one went back against Piazza at the academy. Now, of course, the biggest school jobs that the Mets have is not respecting Gary Carter. When Gary Carter was retiring in 1990, in the 92 season, then he came back to Shea for the last game at Shea Stadium as a player. The good job was to honor Gary Carter, retire his uniform number, put up on the wall, or maybe the next year have it. You do it right the next year and put his number up on the wall, retire and have a day for him. But refused to do that. Tom Seaver did that. The year after the retired in 87, and the next year they had a full day for him and put his number up on the wall. And Seaver was the only player that only actually retired 3 numbers. Casey Stengel, number 37, Gil Hodges, number 14, and Seaver, number 41. He retired him in that order. Of course, he retired number 42, but for all the 42 was retired with all the teams for Jackie Robinson, so they don't really count 42. Because you didn't have really a big player who ever wore 42 for the Mets. Put him on the wall. But in terms of Gary Carter, they didn't do that. I think in 11 years later, in 2003, Gary Carter did get into the Baseball Hall of Fame. The Carter retired his number because Montreal Expos had already retired his, and the Expos were still in Montreal at the time when they retired his number. So they already had a date for him already and all that stuff. But the Mets could retire his number too. The problem was, at least from the Mets standpoint, which is the wrong standpoint, obviously. Otherwise, we won't be discussing it. Was the Baseball Hall of Fame since 2000, after the 2001 election with Dave Winfield, decided not to represent the Yankees in the Hall of Fame, but San Diego. And San Diego A gave him a job, and B, San Diego was the first team that he played with, and C, didn't have a gambler following him around that was hired by Stuart Steinbrenner. That's why Winfield picked San Diego. And there was other stories, other players who were being bought off. Players have played for more than one team, and there's a good chance to get into the Hall of Fame. Teams were paying them off. You know, giving them like a vice president's job or something like that, to so that when they get into the Hall of Fame, they would pick them instead of the team that they were in the prime with. They have a Winfield. Remember Winfield did start with San Diego, but they have it with Ray Boggs announced that. Ray Boggs announced he was from the Tampa Bay area. He was born and raised there. He did end his career with Tampa Bay. So he said, oh, and Tampa Bay, Ray Boggs retires, he said, oh, he can get a job. Offered him a job with the Devil Race in the front office. And Ray Boggs said, oh, if I get into whenever the Riders vote me in, I'm going to pick Tampa Bay instead of the Red Sox. So he hated the owners of the Red Sox, so sticking to them, he wanted to be recognized as a Tampa Bay Devil Ray instead of a Boston Red Sox player. So to end all that stuff, the Hall of Fame put in this rule, said, okay, we make the decision, not the players. In terms of, the Hall of Fame makes a decision of what team you represent on your cap. In the Hall of Fame, they only put like a cap on the player's face on the plaque, on the Hall of Fame plaques, and they put like an album of the Mets or the Yankees or Red Sox, Cubs, whatever team. And they started the rule in 2002 with Ozzie Smith. Ozzie Smth came over with San Diego, but it was in his prime with, most people remember Ozzie Smith with the Cardinals. So they put the Cardinals logo, the STL, on their hat. So the next year when Gary Carter and Eddie Murray got in, they picked Eddie Murray for the Orioles because that was when he had his best years with the Orioles. So it was kind of obvious, so it's not really that much of a problem with baseball fans. But Gary Carter was working with the Mets as a minor league manager. And he says, He's made a suggestion to the Hall of Fame. So look, I know you guys don't make the decision, but if you want my input, please pick the Mets, not the Expos, because I do not want to represent a team that's not going to be here in 2 years. He's already made the announcement that the Expos are going to move to Washington and become the Washington Nationals. So what they did was they picked the Expos because he spent most of it, the first like 12 years of his career with the Expos. So he only spent 5 years with the Mets. Even though he won the World Series here, he has 300th home run with the Mets. And he scored, of course, the famous rally in the 6th game of the '86 World Series. They picked that. Well, the Mets could have done the right thing. They said, okay, we're going to figure the Met Hall of Fame, which they did. And also, retiring a number. They did not retire his number. I'm sure that if he went in as a Met, the Mets management would retire his number. And they didn't do that. He died 2 years ago in 2012 of brain cancer. They could have retired his number like the year before, in 2011, while he was dying. They didn't do that, and they still have not done that. And to me, it's a goddamn disgrace. I have to say it. They haven't retired Gary Cole's number. They have not retired Keith Hernandez's number, or even Mookie Wilson's. Well, Mookie Wilson was never a big all-around player, but he had the most famous ground ball in World Series history, as you can see behind me here. The picture behind me, he had the most famous ground ball in World Series history, and his numbers are in there. Excuse me. So he's all those players are screwed, and of course the biggest school job they're giving is Jesse Orosco. They put stupid John Franco in the Met Hall of Fame, who was, in my opinion, the worst relief pitcher in New York Giants history. The only one who was worse than him was Neil Allen, followed by Roger McDowell, in that order. Because John Franco, every time Franco came into the game, he would get first guy out, second guy out. And with a 3-1 lead, he would come in the 9th inning, get the first 2 guys out, then give him a hit, a walk, another hit. Before you know it, 3-1 lead, then we got a 1-1 lead. Then he gets the next guy out, gets the save. They have us almost every game that Franco pitched. Not every single game, but majority of his games were like that. He can't get one. He had his fair share of 1, 2, 3 9th innings, but a lot of the times he just can go 1, 2, 3. Get the opposing team out of nowhere. You have to go do that. They honor Franco like crazy. Believe it or not, fact. You know how many votes he got for the Hall of Fame? He got like 12 votes for the Major League Hall of Fame. And the 12 sports writers who voted for John Franco, you are fucking morons. Excuse my language. You are fucking morons for voting for John Franco for the Hall of Fame. You have to say it. But the Mets put him in the Hall of Fame and not Jesse Orosco, who won 3 games in the 1986 playoffs and saved the final game of the World Series and knocked in the very last run of the World Series. That doesn't put him in the Met Hall of Fame. But stupid Franco, who kisses everybody's ass, he gets it. There's another big screw there, and Jesse Orosco belongs on the wall as well. But the Mets don't do it. The Mets don't recognize anybody from those teams in. They don't even have old-timers game. So all let's have an old-timers game and bring these guys back. They don't do it. I can never remember a time. I think when Keith Hernandez retired, and I think they brought him back a couple of times for an old-timers game back in the 90s. But I can't even remember the last time the Mets had an old-timers game. On the 20th anniversary of the '86 team, they had just introduced the team and that's it. They could have had a whole weekend when they had an old-timers game for could have had like a card show which they sponsored, which they could have had the whole team there. We can have somebody win an autograph ball, meet all the players and get an autograph ball of every player. Could have done that, but they haven't done a damn thing properly honor their history since Wilpon fully took the team. That's when City Field opened up. Got a lot of criticism because they had all this Brooklyn Dodgers stuff and Jackie Robinson stuff, which is fine and good because Fred Wilpon is from Brooklyn and was a Brooklyn Dodgers fan growing up as a kid. So that's why, if you ever see City Field, that's why it looks like Ebbets Field, because that's why he modeled the stadium after. But in terms of honoring Met history, they didn't do it until like the next year when they opened up like a little Mets museum, you know, in the Rotunda area for the Mets. And they do have 2 World Series trophies, and they had put plaques up like Baseball Hall of Fame does for the players and management and whatever, the managers, whatever, in the Met Hall of Fame. They did that. And also they have different uniforms for different players, and they did all that type of thing. But it was a year too late for a lot of Met fans, and especially me. Like a year too late. They should have done it right when the season opened up. You know, when the City Field opened up. Even before then, they should have done something. But you know, they always screw the fans and screw the players all the time, the Mets. So that's why he did 2 parts: how the Mets were treated by Major League Baseball, and how the management treats, you know, the players and the fans. Because this one bunch of over to treat the Mets fans like a bunch of idiots or something, trying to fool everybody. And of course, it wasn't only the show put up Noah Syndergaard at the start of the season, but the only reason we didn't have it because of having to do with arbitration. The later they bring him up, the later or the more they push back when he's eligible for an arbitration hearing. Because I think like after 3 years he has an arbitration hearing. And that's when they do it, so it's delay. So another screw job. And also they did that with Dallas Strawberry too. They didn't bring him up to like May. I think at the end of April, the beginning of May, that's when the Mets bought Dallas Strawberry in 1983. Brian Play, they really didn't do that with. I'm talking about the hot young pitcher. Was played Glenn 30 years ago. He used Davey Johnson fought to put Glenn on the team. So that was like really the last one. And every other hot young pitcher the Mets have ever had, they bring up like in the middle of the seat, like in June or July, to delay the arbitration countdown clock. So that's my videos for the schooling of the New York Mets. I hope any baseball fans out there, I hope you all like this stuff. Maybe hopefully go back to maybe doing movie reviews or television show review next. Thank you for watching, and please click on the video if you like it. Please subscribe to my channel, or please rate it, please like it, and I see in my other videos that some people give like 2 people didn't like it. Some of my videos, some of my other videos get like 1 view. I'm doing this video. I don't have to do these videos, and you people are giving me negative ratings or not viewing them at all. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But thank you for those of you who have been watching. Thank you for watching. Please share this videos. Please feel free to comment on. And catch you next time.